This is where MAGA comes to talk. All right, there was a big arrest at the Charlie Kirk Memorial Venue. I'm going to talk about that and a few other things. And, you know, I've been watching on social media a lot of the left talking about Jimmy Kimmel and Charlie Kirk and everything. And there's a constant theme that I'm seeing from all of them. They keep saying, and you'll hear some of the people that are in my live chat, some of the liberals and some of the people that call me on when I'm taking live calls, they keep talking about the country's divided. The country's divided. What do they mean? The country's divided because they're not in charge. And when I talk to these people, I always ask them the same thing, and then they get frustrated as if I'm, because it's a question they don't have an answer to. I ask them, when was the country not divided, right? And some dope who's a college graduate, I was on the phone with him. He said, well, the American Revolution. I was like, well, what about the Loyalist, right? I mean, there's never been a period in the history of the United States where there has not been division. Now, the difference is that Democrats are shooting people now. They're killing people. So, but somehow they're putting that on us. And, this is what's going on here is insanity, okay? Tomorrow, the Charlie Kirk Memorial in Arizona, and I got a big update on that, which I'm going to get to in a moment. They're expecting 100,000 to attend. I wouldn't be surprised if it's 200,000. Would you? What these perverted liberals are doing, and what I mean by perverted, I mean their logic. Okay, their morality and their logic. They're more upset that Jimmy Kimmel that ABC took him off the air just a couple of nights than they are that Charlie Kirk is in a box right now dead. Isn't that, and they believe that Jimmy Kimmel not doing his lowly rated, unfunny piece of shit show for 2 nights is worse than Charlie Kirk being assassinated in front of the world and everybody's seen it. These are sick, twisted mofos. And I want you to think about this. Let's scare the hell out of you. These monsters were running the country 8 months ago. Think about that. Think about that. Listen to this dumbass. This is who is this? Who is this? They say comedian, podcaster, actor, and producer Tim Hidecker.
Never heard of him.
Let me look him up. Okay, let me play what this jerk has to say. Let me. I'm just going to look him up here real quick. I'm going to do a quick Google search. I don't know who these Hollywood people are anymore. But let's see here. I've never heard of him. Let's see here. Timothy, he's in the Hollywood Reporter, and he's going viral for what he says about Jimmy Kimmel today. That's why I'm going to play. He's an actor. He had a role.
He said it. Now he's going viral.
He had a role in Bridesmaids, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Okay, whatever, But listen, he's talking about Jimmy Kimmel.
It's a dark time. I mean, I think it's very scary. It's happening very quickly, and we are seeing the results of electing a fascist and living what it feels like to be living under a fascist regime. And
I want you to keep in mind, he's talking about Jimmy Kimmel being taken off the air for a couple of days. Mm-hmm. He's not talking about the assassination of a husband and a father of 2 young children who was leading a large, nonviolent, really kind of protest movement where he opened dialogue with the other side. He's not talking about that. He's talking about Jimmy Kimmel missing a couple shows.
It's a dark time. I mean, I think it's very scary. It's happening very quickly, and we are seeing the results of electing a fascist and living what it feels like to be living under a fascist regime. And I'm sure Jimmy will be okay, but it's very scary, and that's absolutely state-sponsored censorship. So we'll see what happens next. I mean, the guy from the FCC said we can do this the easy way or the hard way. That's like mob stuff. So I'm very upset by it, and I'm not that, late night TV is not my thing, but that's okay. I think he should be able to say what he wants within reason. What he said didn't seem that
Within reason. Also, he does have some limitations, but he's going to decide the limitations.
crazy. So, yeah, it's
Mob stuff. The Democrats just put a bullet in the neck of Charlie Kirk and killed him. That looks like mob stuff to me. Not some. I don't even like to call Jimmy Kimmel a comedian. He's not funny. Mob stuff is killing somebody. Mob stuff is not some guy not getting to do his late night talk show for 2 nights. Give me a freaking break, right? Give me a freaking break. Here is I saw this, and you know, there's all these clips of Charlie Kirk that everybody's watching, and I saw this one, and I'm going to play that. I don't play too many of the Charlie Kirk clips because so many people are doing that, and you guys watch them. But every once in a while, there's a special one. AOC and all these monsters that are in the Democrat caucus in the Congress that voted against this recognition of Charlie Kirk in the House vote. They said he's a racist, right? Here's Charlie Kirk talking about race to one of these liberal college kids.
So, like, what defines where one race ends and where one race begins?
Depends who you're asking. I think race is completely and totally irrelevant. Do you think race is relevant?
No.
Okay, then why are we talking about race all the time, and why are we talking about critical race theory?
Well,
Exactly. If race isn't important, asshole, why are you talking about it all the time? I mean, come on.
Okay, then why are we talking about race all the time, and why are we talking about critical race theory?
well, you brought it up at first when you were doing your speech.
Right,
So,
remember I said it was a lie from the pit of hell that we should repudiate and stop talking about all the time? You're on scholarship?
sorry, what?
Nothing, sorry, go ahead.
This kid's so stupid he doesn't know he just got roasted by Charlie Kirk.
So, to answer your question, I don't think that race means anything, and I guess you don't either, right?
Yeah.
Right. So then why do you keep bringing up race whenever you're on or speaking on a stage? I am not speaking on a stage bringing up critical race theory. You are.
No.
So.
I'm bringing up how critical race theory destroys society and how we shouldn't talk about race all the time.
That's right.
Okay. But you're bringing up race.
You know, critical race theory, not race.
Okay, so what's the second word in that?
Yeah,
Oh my
it's
goodness.
race, but it's
This kid, he should have just taken his wound and walked away, right? You know, I got humiliated, I got roasted. So he's trying to roast Charlie Kirk. It's just not happening.
theory of how to view race, of which is a mind virus pathogen destroying America, of which I said again, just to reemphasize for those in the back, we could replay the tape, we'd throw the red flag we'll watch it over again. I said that what? Race means nothing. I care about your actions, your character, and most importantly, your soul. Thank you for being here tonight.
Yeah. All right. Next. You know, that's Martin Luther King right there. If Martin Luther King was doing his movement now, he'd be doing what Charlie Kirk was doing, right? He'd be going to these campuses talking and doing all these shorts and everything on social media. Welcome. If you're new to my channel, my name is Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure you subscribe. Yeah, this is a shirt. My wife got me this shirt. It says "Legends Never Die" with Charlie Kirk on. Very nice shirt. Yeah. So Van Jones, I got a couple things here with Van Jones. Van Jones got a text from Charlie Kirk. Now remember, the day before Charlie Kirk was assassinated by this Democrat, Van Jones was on CNN ripping Charlie Kirk, calling him all these vile, terrible things the day before the assassination. Well, Charlie Kirk had sent a text message to Van Jones, and Van Jones did not get the text message until after the Democrat assassinated Charlie Kirk. I got two clips. This is Van Jones on his iPhone, and the next one is him with Anderson Cooper.
Charlie Kirk and I were not friends at all. In fact, the last week of his life, we were beefing hard, beefing online, beefing on air. But the day before he died, he did something that shocked me. He sent me a personal message calling for personal dialogue, wanted me to come on his show. He said we could be gentlemen together. He said we could deal with our disagreements agreeably. And in the past week and a half, just watching people talk about civil wars and censorship and all this stuff coming out of his death, I just thought it was important to let people know, don't put that on Charlie Kirk, because the last day of his life, he was reaching out to have not more censorship, more conversation.
So the day that he died, he texted Van Jones, and that because the day before, Van Jones was ripping him and calling him a racist on CNN. That is amazing.
More dialogue. I just thought it was important to let people know, don't put that on Charlie Kirk, because the last day of his life, he was reaching out to have not more censorship, more conversation, more dialogue with somebody who honestly was one of his adversaries, me. And I just want to share that with the world. And I hope that maybe it might help somebody on both sides deal with issues more like he did.
Would that be something if Van Jones got red-pilled over this? So that's him just on his iPhone. Let me pull this up because I saw him. I know I've got this somewhere. I saw Van Jones. Okay, this is it. This is Anderson Cooper goes on forever and ever. Okay, and then, okay, this is Van Jones on CNN talking about Charlie Kirk and the text message.
It was sent on September 9th. Van says he did not.
All right, let me rewind Anderson a little bit. He goes on for about 10 minutes. He doesn't, he's got Van Jones sitting there. He's talking about Van Jones and Charlie Kirk. He takes like forever to get to it. But then he goes to Van Jones. Here we go.
Threats against him. In the midst of all of this, Kirk reached out to Van in a direct message on X. Hey, Van, I mean it. I'd love to have you on my show to have a respectful conversation about crime and race. I would be a gentleman, as I know you would be as well. We can disagree about the issues agreeably. Now, that message was sent on September 9th. Van says he did not see it until the very next day after Kirk was murdered. Van Jones just wrote a piece about this for CNN.com and is here tonight.
You know what Van Jones's op-ed should be on that? It should just be 3 words. CNN, the headline, Charlie Kirk sent me a text the day that he died, and the whole commentary is just, I'm an asshole. That's it. That's what Van Jones should have written.
Said horrible things about Charlie.
Oh my
Kirk
goodness.
the day before he was killed.
Yeah, and that's why
Horrible
Charlie
things.
reached out to him.
I mean, this is extraordinary. So this was received the day before he was killed.
Yeah. Look, I mean, we were beefing. We were going at it online, on air. And then after he died, after he was murdered, my team called and said, Van, he was trying.
Van Jones has a team? What does he have a team for? Why all these people have teams? Ben Shapiro, my team, they were talking about me online. I had no idea. My team alerted me that I was being discussed online. These people in their teams, everyone checks, okay? And these people, my team.
We were going at it online, on air. And then after he died, after he was murdered, my team called and said, Van, he was trying to reach you, man. What?
His team.
And what was he doing? Dialogue?
Okay, now I'm a little curious. I'm going to play the whole thing, and I'm going to rewind it, and I'll play the whole thing uninterrupted. He sent Van Jones a text message to Van Jones's personal phone. How did he not get it for 2 days? Till the day after he died, and why? Who on his team checks his text? He doesn't check his own text. It's a little strange. This is Pepsi Cola walking in front of the camera. Hey, Kathy, can you grab Pepsi? Pepsi likes to be on camera. He's a Gen Z cat. Gen Z, they like to be on social media all the time. Okay, but so we get the. I would have, Van Jones. He must feel like a dope, huh? Talking the way he did. In fact, the day that Charlie Kirk.
Well, he feels guilty.
Yeah,
He feels guilty.
That's right. The day Charlie Kirk was assassinated. All of us. I played the audio of Van Jones ripping him right that morning. Everyone was talking about it. It went viral, and he was probably excited, Van Jones, that he was getting all this viral attention and trending and everything. And then Charlie was assassinated by this Democrat lunatic. And then he get the text. He gets it the day after he was dead. This incredible text. Let me rewind it, and I'll play Van Jones without stomping it down.
I mean, this is extraordinary. So this was received the day before he was killed.
Yeah. Look, I mean, we were beefing. We were going at it online, on air. And then after he died, after he was murdered, my team called and said, Van, he was trying to reach you, man. What? And what was he doing? Dialogue. Let's be gentlemen together. He says, let's disagree agreeably. So I'm sitting on this and I'm watching the whole country talk about civil war, censorship, justifying murder about this guy? This guy is reaching out to his mortal enemy saying we need to be gentlemen, sit down together and disagree agreeably.
Now, Van Jones is, a typical liberal. He said he reached out to his mortal enemy. Charlie Kirk didn't view Van Jones as an enemy. That's why he reached out to him, right? But Van Jones viewed him as an enemy. See, this is why this crackdown by the FCC and President Trump on Jimmy Kimmel and these others with the FCC is so important. Don't you see? When he still, after everything that's happened, is identifying Charlie Kirk as an enemy. Rewind a little.
Talk about civil war, censorship, justifying murder about this guy? This guy is reaching out to his mortal enemy saying we need to be gentlemen, sit down together and disagree agreeably. And the next day he's killed. And I've sat on it long enough and I just said, you know what? We're going to Memorial Weekend for this man. We disagree. Everybody knows we were not friends, okay? At all. But you praise the good when it's time to memorialize somebody. And what he did, and I didn't even know it, was good. He was not for censorship. He was not for civil war. He was not for violence. He was for dialogue.
Yeah, but they are, because they shot him dead. And they've done nothing but censor conservatives for years.
Open debate and dialogue, even with me. Even with me.
If, would you have gone on his show? Would you have done
Look, I would have probably tried to get him on your show. I mean, I wasn't trying to build his platform, but I would have called him, we would have talked, and we would have started the process of trying to figure this stuff out. And I think what happens is people get so worked up, Anderson, seeing us go at it, they think they're supposed to go out and kill somebody, or go out and talk about civil war, or go out and silence people, or cancel people, or fire people, or censor people. About Charlie Kirk, Mr. Debate, I did not agree with him on literally almost anything. But we were words, not weapons, guys. We were words, not weapons, guys. And we were getting into a position where we could get some real debate going, whether it's going to be on CNN, on his show. That wasn't worked out. But I would have taken him up. I wanted to beat Charlie Kirk in a debate. I didn't want somebody to shoot him. That's how we do it in America. And the idea that now people on both sides are justifying murders and calling for...
Who on the right, who in MAGA is justifying murders? What the freak is he talking about, Van Jones? Even with this text and all this stuff and these crocodile tears, okay, he's still saying the same crap that got Charlie assassinated.
Beat Charlie Kirk in a debate. I didn't want somebody to shoot him. That's how we do it in America. And
so is he saying that
is so fake.
Wait a minute. He says I wanted to debate him, not somebody to shoot. So is he admitting that he was smearing him in a way to cause anger towards him? That's what I didn't want someone to shoot him. I just wanted them to hate the mother effer. That's what he's saying. He is a sick man, Van Jones. And he is not choked up. No, he's not choked up.
I think these texts were going to get leaked.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's doing a preemptive
by his
strike.
team.
That's why he sat on it for a week.
Yeah.
Almost a week. And he said horrible. After he was killed, everybody played the clips of Van Jones.
Yeah.
And he probably couldn't go out in public without people wanting to throw things at him, blaming him. This is about self-preservation.
Yeah.
This is not about Charlie Kirk.
He's afraid of being taken off CNN.
He's a pariah.
Yeah.
In society, he can't go anywhere now with people screaming at him,
calling
him
an asshole,
and doing these horrible things. So he feels guilty, and he's trying to save his own ass.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so phony.
Yeah.
we were words, not weapons, guys.
Yeah.
And we were getting into a position where we could get some real debate going, whether it's going to be on CNN, on his show. That wasn't worked out. But I would have taken him up. I wanted to beat Charlie Kirk in a debate. I didn't want somebody to shoot him. That's how we do it in America. And the idea that now people on both sides are justifying murders and...
Okay, now can somebody in the chat tell me who is this MAGA person justifying murders that that Van Jones is referencing here? Because I've missed that.
Calling for civil wars. We got to calm this down, Anderson. We need to calm this down. We need to lower the temperature.
Well, tell your Democrat friends to stop shooting and killing MAGA people, right? I mean, look, the president was shot. They tried to shoot him again. They shot and assassinated Charlie Kirk. Another Democrat was going to kill the Republican governor of New Hampshire, and they got an armed man at the memorial site for Charlie Kirk's event tomorrow. I'm going to go over that story in a minute. Tell your Democrat friends to stop killing people and shooting people.
Yes, we disagree, but like he said, we can disagree agreeably. That's his last words to me. Let's disagree agreeably. We should take that.
Melissa Hortman was killed by a Democrat, JR, and come on. Didn't I tell you guys on my podcast yesterday, every program since the day after Charlie Kirk's assassination, I've had to say this at least once. Melissa Hortman is the Minnesota state legislature. She crossed party lines, voted with Republicans to cut off Medicare, Medicaid benefits, health insurance coverage to illegals. She was the only Democrat to vote with the Republicans on that. The guy that shot her, he was the guy with that Halloween mask, was the Democrat, and he shot her because of it dead, okay? That's not MAGA, that's, you know. And if you've watched me, unless you're new to my channel right now, you've heard me say that probably 20 times in the last week.
Disagree agreeably. That's his last words to me. Let's disagree agreeably. We should take that spirit into the Memorial Weekend for this guy.
You also wrote that in the wake of Charlie Kirk's murders, Americans have a choice. They can choose more violence, more outrage, more censorship, or a different way. It's similar to what the governor in Utah, Spencer Cox, has said in recent days.
Yeah, look, he's a Republican. He's saying the same thing I'm saying. I'm a strong Democrat. We have a choice now. This could be the beginning of us getting off of this pathway, but the pathway we're on, Anderson, is scary. It's about more violence. It's about more retribution. It's about more censorship. It's about more of everything that nobody wants. But we can't seem to get off of it. Charlie Kirk in his last message to me was pointing away.
Yeah.
He's lumping in Jimmy Kimmel.
With Charlie being assassinated.
Censorship.
Yeah.
How are those two?
By the way,
he's lumping in.
He missed 2 shows. And he's comparing that to Charlie Kirk getting shot dead. They're all doing it. It's sick, isn't it, Kath?
Yeah.
It's sick. And that makes sense to these people.
Out. Civil discourse, civil dialogue, debate. Let's disagree agreeably.
Well, then tell your Democrats to stop shooting MAGA people. Okay, so here's the latest. Armed man inside Charlie Kirk Memorial venue charged with impersonating a police officer. Joshua Runkles charged with impersonating a law enforcement officer and carrying a weapon into a prohibited place. Arizona officials announced charges Saturday against the man the Secret Service said was carrying a gun and knife inside State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. The NFL stadium is where Charlie Kirk's memorial is set to take place tomorrow. He was charged with impersonating a law enforcement officer, which is a felony, carrying a weapon into a prohibited place, which is a misdemeanor. He was released on bond. Are you freaking kidding me? The president and vice president of the United States are going to be there tomorrow. They let this guy out on bond. He should be in jail till after the event. He could be out on bond communicating with his friends. What the freak are they doing? Unless they let him out to track his movements, which I don't think they did. They let him out on bond? Source, it's Fox News, Breitbart, and every news source, okay, that's out there. Okay, read the news. Get off Twitch. He was released on bond after being booked into the Maricopa County Jail. Oh, Maricopa County, here we go again. They probably don't even think he should have been arrested. An investigation is ongoing to determine his intent and purpose. Well, it was no good.
That's nuts.
It's insane. Pam Bondi should have him rearrested by the FBI. My goodness.
They should at least keep him till this event's
Exactly.
I mean, they can't keep him for 48 hours.
You know, he could be communicating with his assassin cell.
That's crazy. That's just crazy.
Secret Service spokesperson previously said the man was detained in the stadium. He told Secret Service agents he was on the site to provide private security. The Washington Post, citing a law enforcement official familiar with the matter, says a federal source familiar with the investigation told Fox the man was a former law enforcement member from another state. He came and identified himself with expired credentials. They're going through his background and trying to figure out what he was up to. Well, then why did they let him out of jail? If they don't know what he was up to, why did they let him bond out? The President of the United States, who survived 2 assassination attempts, is going to be there tomorrow, and they didn't hold this guy? It's craziness what's going on. I mean, we just had an assassination of Charlie Kirk a week and a half ago. Now listen to this. This is CNN talking about the big problem. The big problem's not assassinations and MAGA people being shot. It's of course Jimmy Kimmel missing 2 nights of his program. Holy crap! The democracy has fallen. You know.
I heard earlier this week Ezra Klein and Ross Douthat having a conversation, and there was this moment where Ezra says, "You know, I probably needed to acknowledge back a couple of years ago that we were a little too censorious. That the left was
censorious. Have you heard that word, Kathy?
No.
Have any of you heard censorious before?
That's a word. Actually, I don't think anybody's ever heard it used that way.
I think liberals have censored people so much that they created the word.
Like, remember the word feckless, which is a word, but nobody really used it.
Yeah.
And then that one comedian used it, and everybody. You're going to start hearing that word all the time. Now.
Censorious.
Yeah, I'm telling
censorious.
You're going to start saying it all the time. A word you never hear.
Remember when all the pundits used to say the notion? Oh, I hate that one. The notion. Oh, the notion. Yeah, they used to all say that. Yeah. Then the
notion that.
The notion that.
Yes.
Or
bad actors.
Bad actors. Yeah. Bad actors. He's a bad actor.
They say bad actor.
Censorious. Yeah. It's a new dinosaur. Censorious. Yes.
I heard earlier this week
CNN.
Ezra Klein and Ross Douthat having a conversation, and there was this moment where Ezra says, "You know, I probably needed to acknowledge back a couple of years ago that we were a little too censorious. That the left was actually interested in kind of intimidating people."
Something more liberals should say.
I think it would help.
They should acknowledge, not just in passing, but actively acknowledge where things went wrong. That's the only way to move forward.
Agreed.
I think, in a way.
Because
that's Abby Phillips on CNN, the anchor. So she
rethought that one. Like,
yeah.
I don't want to get fired.
She's like, oh shit, what did I just say? We shouldn't censor conservatives.
She just thought, oh crap.
Then she says, well, I'm black, so I can play the race card if they try to fire me over that. I'll be okay.
I think, in a way.
Yeah.
Because otherwise,
what would we acknowledge?
Well, I think you have to acknowledge that there is listen, cancel culture was a thing.
Absolutely.
Okay, it was actually a thing. And it's not just enough to say, well, my cancel culture was fine, but yours is wrong.
Exactly.
There has to be an acknowledgement that...
You know what Rush used to call these things? Rush Limbaugh, he used to call these, when somebody would make sense on CNN, he would say, we have an accidental case of journalism on CNN. This is an accidental case of journalism.
Yeah, she realized that she said it, she screwed up.
Yeah.
Cancel culture was fine, but yours is wrong. There has to be an acknowledgement that now I think everybody understands what free speech really looks like and what it means. And then you have to apply that thinking to what was happening 4, 5, 6 years ago.
It wasn't,
and say something
but
about
this.
I heard earlier this week Ezra.
Yeah, random act of journalism. No, I've heard him say that too. He said them both. They're pretty funny. Oh my goodness. If you're new to my channel, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure that you subscribe. Let's see. What was this one? Okay, here's CNN yesterday. They're talking about the biggest travesty of the last 50 years. Jimmy Kimmel missing 2 nights of his lowly rated show.
He got fired from his show.
They suspended him indefinitely. He's been suspended indefinitely.
2 nights, he's off.
Yeah. Indefinitely could be a week, it could be a day, it could be, it's unknown, undetermined.
What he's doing, knows the law, and has an active remit from the White House.
Oh, they're talking about Brendan Carr, the FCC guy.
Knows the law, and has an active remit from the White House to do what he's doing.
That's right.
He is on very safe territory here, and the idea that he's going to be drawn up to hearings and something bad.
See, this is another CNN accidental case of journalism.
It's going to happen to him via the Hill. Not possible.
Well, I do think that, again, back to MAGA not necessarily agreeing with his comments, and he was essentially threatening ABC to fire Kimmel. But and talking about abuse of power, and it's just more than the media at this point. We talked a little bit about, or like Trump talked a little bit about going after organizations and deeming them terrorist organizations.
Yeah, Antifa. Yeah, the ones where the bricks just show up on pallets right before an event all the time. And who broke the window of the front door of the Capitol building on January 6th and opened the door.
This is another place where the federal government is using their authority to go after progressive organizations because they don't like what they're doing.
Yeah, shooting Republicans dead like Charlie Kirk. We don't like that they're doing that, so we got to shut them down. These people.
This is another place where the federal government is using their authority to go after progressive organizations because they don't like what they're doing. Again, shoes on the other foot. If a Democrat wins in 2028, do they really want a Democrat going after the Heritage Foundation?
I don't care about the Heritage Foundation.
The Tea Party?
Exactly.
And trying to deem them as a terrorist organization.
Remember the Justice Department? They had Homeland Security writing down the license plate numbers of parents at school board meetings in Virginia.
I can tell when they're talking about this, they know what they're saying is ridiculous, because they're the ones who laid the whole precedent.
Exactly.
For all this. You know, they've been doing it for a decade, probably before that, and they've had everybody canceled. Jimmy Kimmel, when Roseanne got fired, celebrated it and said ABC made the right call.
Exactly.
And she should have been fired. You can't say everything, and you can't always say what you want to say. And give me a break.
Exactly.
They invented this stuff.
Exactly.
Trump's just playing their own game, and they don't like it. You know? He's just playing their own game, and they can't handle it.
That's exactly right. There's this one clip. I thought I had it. Hold on. Let me look this up. Hold on. Let me look this up if I can find this. Let me see if I can find this one clip. Okay. Candace Owens, I was talking this morning on the podcast, which you guys should go and see. It's right here on the channel. It's the thumbnail that has Megyn Kelly in it. After I'm done here, go and watch this morning's podcast. I covered some really good stuff. This is something I didn't get to on the podcast today, but I was talking about the mental state of Candace Owens. She's had a break from reality, and her husband is the worst husband in America right now, because if you're a husband and your wife is having a mental break like she's having, you would take her off the air and get her some help, get her in a psychiatric ward.
At least get her away from the kids.
So she's got this new thing. I'm going to play this for you. There was a camera that they say was behind Charlie Kirk, and Candace Owens is saying that she's had access and viewed the footage from the camera behind Charlie Kirk when he was shot. Have you heard this?
There's nothing gory about this footage from the back. The thing that really stood out to me, and I just kept asking him to replay it over and over and over again, is that there's no blood. There's no blood from the back. There is no blood. So I think a lot of people were wondering whether or not that bullet pierced and went out to the back. I think I vaguely even remember, and Skylar, you can maybe live look this up, but I thought the feds were saying they were looking for a bullet at some point, which is now very alarming to me. I don't understand that. How could they have been looking for a bullet? Because if I'm not seeing, and there isn't, I'm telling you, what happens in the front is not what happens in the back at all. If I'm not seeing any blood, what are we to take from that?
So I'm going to play the rest of this, but here's the question. Now, of course, Turning Point, no one took footage from this camera and gave it to Candace Owens, okay? And in fact, Turning Point has said they didn't do it, but there's no way So my question to you is this. Is Candace Owens completely lying and making this up? Or is her break from reality so far gone that she's so mentally ill that she believes she's seen this footage that has no blood in it? What do you guys think in the chat? Which is it?
If I'm not seeing any blood, what are we to take from that? The only thing that could make sense, if what they're saying is true and that person took the shot from the place that they are saying that individual took the shot from, it would suggest that it was inside of Charlie, right? And they would know that. The feds would have known that. So they would have communicated that they were never looking for a bullet. Because remember, one shot. So I'm very confused. I'm very confused, not by what I saw, but what I didn't see.
So I think she's lying. I don't think it's a mental break. If she was having a mental break, it'd be much more detailed.
That was pretty vague.
Yeah, okay. Do not watch the Charlie Kirk video. I saw it. The first time I saw it twice, okay? I saw the original one far away, and it looked like, oh, he got shot in the chest. And I saw right there, and I was on the phone with Steve Kane.
It came from in front of him.
Yeah.
It came from,
yeah.
You could tell it was from far away and hit him in the front.
Yeah, and I said, he's gone. And then later on, when the AP said that he was stable, I was like, oh my goodness. But the one that I really wish I wouldn't have seen was the close-up video, and no one watched that. I'm so sorry I saw that. I mean, it's something you just can't unsee, and but you can see the bullet hit him in the chest, bounced off his bulletproof vest, whatever he had under there. I don't know what type of vest he had on, and it ricocheted to the neck and cut across the neck.
And there was a lot of blood.
I've never seen anything like it. Never seen it. It was
bad.
So,
I almost threw up.
And I'll tell you, and I know a lot of you had this experience, and I was crying here on the live stream for a few days. I don't think I've ever cried for someone who's died that wasn't in my family. I think that this might be the first time I've cried for someone who died that wasn't in my family. I can't think of another time. I haven't seen her crying or really even broken up. She seems kind of pissed off and putting her foot down and threatening people. And I've got the text and I got the receipts, and I'm not hearing someone who's upset at the loss of this close personal friend that she keeps telling us. She seems to be telling us a lot of how connected she is. I think like somebody gave her this footage, and what she's trying to do is, in that moment, I do not believe that's a break from reality. I believe she is knowingly lying. And by the way, if you're new to my channel, my name is Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure that you subscribe. She's trying to create a conspiracy that she can do endless rabbit hole BS talk about, and basically, to make money off the death of her friend, and have guest after guest with fake bullshit after fake bullshit, with aerial photos and drone footage and redacted documents and all kinds of other bullshit, and just do video after video for the next endless amount of years. And she even said on a clip I played on the podcast today that she's going to investigate and solve this mystery. So that is a moment of sanity where she's just looking to make money and gain fame off the death of someone that she says was a close personal friend of hers, even still to this day. She's
so you think it's more about money than
I think she's severely mentally ill, but I think she has moments of clarity. I think, and that's when she does the lying. I think she is she's a typical, like, a Hollywood type celebrity. She is a 100% narcissist.
Oh God, yes.
And she's a narcissist who doesn't have the access and clout that she thinks she deserves. So she's kind of on the outs, and
everybody thinks she's nuts.
Yeah, so and she's losing her mind. Yeah. Oh yeah, she's very mentally ill. She has these breaks from reality. You can tell.
You can tell when she talks. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but she's like almost manic.
I've been watching.
She's so hopped up.
I've been watching Candace Owens since before she was famous. Yeah. She, when I first started live streaming, some of you may remember I was on Periscope. Mm-hmm. She was on Periscope. There were a handful of us on Periscope that are still around. Me, Candace Owens, Jack Prosobic, and
was Steven Crowder on it?
No. Oh shoot! Who's the guy who's the lawyer? He was on 60 Minutes. Oh, I forgot his name. And we were all, and she wasn't famous. She was just on Periscope. Same thing with Jack Prosobic. Yeah. Oh, we call him by his last name all the time. Somebody in the chat will know who I'm talking about. The lawyer.
60 Minutes.
He was on 60 Minutes once years ago.
Oh, Cernovich.
Cernovich. Yeah. So on Periscope, I was on Periscope. Jack Prosobic, Cernovich, Candace Owens. Did I say somebody else? Yeah. And she wasn't, and I remember watching her there, and she wasn't famous yet. and Cernovich made her famous. She got hooked up with Cernovich, and that's how she got famous. Was with
Remember, you were
Cernovich.
going to take Emily to see her at the Blexit thing, and then what happened? What's up? That was it.
COVID.
Or was it
COVID. Yeah. Here's President Trump on Air Force One the other day talking about Ilhan Omar.
I think she's terrible. I think she should be impeached. I think she's terrible. Is she originally from Somalia? So how are they doing this? How's their government? Do they have a president? Do they have a council? Do they have anything? Do they have police? I love these people that come from a place with nothing. Nothing. No anything. And then they tell us how to run our country. No, I think if she got censored, that's great. If she got impeached, that's even better. They impeached me twice for nothing. And they impeached me knowing the Republicans are on my side, so they knew it was just that they impeached me twice. She should be impeached, and it should happen fast. What she says is out of line.
Yeah, what he said in the beginning, she comes from this dump of a country that's basically an anarchy, and she's over here telling us how to run ours. You know, please. Yeah, her country's just really bad. Yeah, if you're new, make sure that you subscribe. Here's Cardinal Dolan, who's lost some weight. Cardinal Dolan on Ozempic, you think? I don't know. He's lost some weight.
Looks pretty thin.
Yeah. Yeah, here's Cardinal Dolan talking about Charlie Kirk.
So when I heard the tragic news, I said, I wonder who he was. And then all of a sudden, this overwhelming sense of sorrow and kind of renewal. And I thought, I got to learn about this guy. And the more I learned about him, I thought, this guy's a modern day St. Paul. He was a missionary. He's an evangelist. He's a hero. He's one, I think, that knew what Jesus meant when he said, the truth will set you free. And to do it, no, I understand he was pretty blunt and he was pretty direct. He didn't try to avoid any controversy. He didn't even try to avoid confrontation. The difference is the way, the mode, the style that he did it, always with respect. And not only was that a gracious, kind of virtuous thing to do, it's effective. Because when your opponents see, this guy kind of respects me. We kind of disagree here, but he kind of enjoys me. And he's thanking me for being here. And he's telling me he appreciates the trust I have in him in sharing my views. I thought, this guy can teach us something. I've been spending the last week reading about him. And so last night, I was at NYU Catholic Student Center, about 200 students there. This is what they talked about. Wow. This is what they talked about.
Isn't that amazing? Cardinal Dolan out of New York. Yeah. I'm not comparing myself to Charlie Kirk, but I try to be nice to these liberal jerks that call me. You hear, you know, when people call me, even when I know it's one of the regular liberal jerks, I always like, oh, how you doing? And then when I'm done, I thank you for your call, right? Every liberal that calls me, I am nice at the beginning, I'm nice at the end. In most every instance, sometimes at the end, I'll say, well, you know, I thank you for your call, but I'd be lying, so I'm not thankful. But I am always nice, no matter how nasty the person is when they call, and I try to thank everybody for their call. Sometimes I'll be too shy.
It's not easy to sit there and have person after person come up and try to rally you up for hours and hours. You know, it's hard to keep your composure.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, pretty much every live stream I've done for the last 6 months, there's always some know-nothing liberal in the chat who tries to tell us, oh, the tariffs are so bad. Like, all of a sudden, you know, when have you ever heard Democrats argue that taxes are bad? This is one tax they don't like, right? But here is Tim Cook. You might have heard of him. He's the CEO of Apple. And I think he knows a little bit about tariffs and economics and such.
People tell me the reviews over and over again, there's always this caveat that they're expensive. And yet I see the trade-in value to be far higher than I remember. Is trade-in better? And when you add in the incentives from the phone companies, I don't see any increase even from tariffs.
Trade-in is great. There's no increase for tariffs in the prices, to be totally clear. And you can get a phone for free today with a plan from your favorite carrier.
Now,
oh, really? I can get a free iPhone? How can I do that? I got to sign a 10-year contract with the phone. I don't know. Let's find out. Let's find out. I don't know. But the tariffs have not increased prices at all on new phones, and that's Tim Cook. So I think he knows more than you trolls in the live chat. Yeah. And here's another one. Here's AOC, who is just a terrible person. Here she is. She's talking about Charlie Kirk.
The majority proceeded with a resolution that brings great pain to the millions of Americans who endured segregation, Jim Crow, and the legacy of bigotry.
Okay, now hold on a second here. Segregation ended over half a century ago. Are there millions of people still alive that endured segregation? The Democrat segregation, by the way. I mean, I know there are people who are alive, but are there millions that are alive? Oh, this just came out on X. Erica Kirk will address rumors that Charlie was changing his stance on Israel, that he was offered $150 million by Netanyahu, and that he planned to convert to Catholicism before his assassination next week on the Turning Point USA, I guess, Alex Clark show. I'm not sure who Alex Clark is, but we'll be watching it, so we're going to get the lowdown on that, the truth. Okay, so let me rewind this. This is AOC talking about a man who's in a box in a mortuary.
The majority proceeded with a resolution that brings great pain to the millions of Americans who endured segregation, Jim Crow, and the legacy of bigotry today. We should be clear about who Charlie Kirk was. A man who believed that the Civil Rights Act that granted Black Americans the right to vote was a mistake.
That's just made up.
Who, after the violent attack on Paul Pelosi, claimed that, quote, some amazing patriot, unquote, should bail out his brutal assailant. And accused...
Well, to find out what he was doing at Pelosi's house in the middle of the night while Nancy was out of town. That's not the same. She's implying that he approved of violence. That's a lie.
Jews of controlling, quote, not just the colleges. It's the nonprofits, it's the movies, it's Hollywood, it's all of it, unquote.
More lies.
His rhetoric and beliefs were ignorant, uneducated, and sought to disenfranchise millions of Americans. Far from the working tirelessly to promote unity, unquote, asserted by the majority in this resolution.
Yeah. These people.
It's basically justifying his murder.
That's exactly right.
I mean, that's really a disgrace.
It's pretty bad.
And she should be impeached for that. She's
Yeah.
on the House floor justifying the assassination of him.
Yeah.
It's just disgusting.
Yeah. So, was this a tweet, Kathy?
Mm-hmm. Well, no, here, another woman talked about it.
Okay, this is Jimmy Kimmel. Okay, now ABC fired Roseanne from her own show, right, back in...
We are going to address those tribute episode.
This is from Turning Point USA.
Oh, okay, hold on.
That thing about Erica. This is because of Candace.
Oh, can you take that off the back of your phone there? The little magnet. No. There's a magnet there. There you go. It's the magnet for my mic. Okay, hold on. I've not heard that. What is this?
They're going to come out Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday next week. We are going to...
Oh, hold on. Let me get the mic up to it.
This is because of Candace Owens.
Okay, this is a follow-up to what Charlie Kirk's widow says is coming up this week.
Those tribute episodes, they're going to come out Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday next week. We are going to address everything. Charlie's thoughts on Israel. If he was offered $150 million in hush money, how him and Erica handled disagreements, what his vacations were like with his family, if he was in the process of converting to Catholicism, his last week on Earth, his last hours on Earth, if Erica feels good about the suspect who was arrested, and his thoughts on education and so much more. Now, I do chime in and I share in these episodes too, so this isn't the last you're going to hear from me about him. But I just want you to know that, one, I have appreciated every single person who has texted or called me, if you know me personally.
Okay, so that's coming up this week. That's going to be really good. We'll all be watching that. So, okay, so when Roseanne got fired from her own show in 2018, for a tweet with a meme that she put up about Valerie Jarrett, Barack and Michelle Obama personally called the president of ABC and got her fired, okay? There's a tweet that Jimmy Kimmel put out in 2018 about Roseanne's firing by ABC. This is a quote, Jimmy Kimmel, May 29th, 2018, on Roseanne Barr's tweet and removal from her own show. ABC, to their credit, didn't waste any time. They canceled her show today. I'm not a fan of censorship, but this wasn't about free speech, Jimmy Kimmel said. It's about consequences for saying something vile. You can say what you want, but networks don't have to pay you to say it. Jimmy Kimmel said this. You can't just blame Ambien for that. Remember, she said, actions have consequences, and ABC made the right call. Jimmy Kimmel, May 29th, 2018. Oh, wow. Isn't it nice that all this stuff on the internet is permanent? Isn't it? It's great. It's great. Yeah. Yeah, if you're new, make sure that you subscribe, okay? Absolutely. You'll love my content, I promise you. Usually I'm in the studio, I take live calls, and you can, of course, call me whether you agree or disagree with what I'm talking about. All right, guys, I want to take off. I'll see you next time. Again, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. See you next time. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe.